Our world is rapidly changing. It has been since the beginning of time, and it will continue to change long after we've left this planet. As we've learned more about how the brain works, we are given a clear insight into the most effective methods of learning and teaching. So why do school systems stay the same? During my time at secondary school and during many conversations in my adult years, I've heard this particular question continuously, that being, why are we not taught things in school that we actually need in life? Like taxes, mortgages, interview prep, CV advice, our human rights, understanding and managing mental health, how to figure out what you want to do in life.
Adolescent research shows us that between the ages of 11 and 18 is a period of immense brain reorganization, which lends itself to increasing vulnerability and also rapid growth. Thus, targeting this developmental window with a curriculum focused on empowering young women is the quickest and most sustainable way for them to compete equally in a man's world.
The importance of art and creativity, and don't even get me started on history. Perhaps at Potency we could rename this subject Her Story, which would teach the truth of humanity's past. Instead, we're plastered with a load of incredibly useless information that we forget as soon as the test is over. It's no surprise that traditional education is more of a memory test than prep for real life.
When I was growing up, I was raised by Sicilian immigrant parents, and the aspirations that I had was to get married and have babies. There was no idea of school or having a career in my family because it was just a different culture. And yet I aspired, beyond that, outside of my box. I saw my sister was taking typing classes and stenography. And so I thought, I'm going to break out of this cycle and I'm going to be a secretary. And I did. And I was so excited, but I had limited myself. And so over the years, what I learned was I love technology. I started to self-code, learned programming on my own. I started building computers when they came out. This was when computers didn't really exist. So I started building computers. I bought one at Sears, which is a department store here.
Yeah.
I invested $4,000. This was back in the 1980s. And I took it apart and I rebuilt it. And then I basically started building them from scratch at that point, and programming. And I just had such a passion for it. And so as my administrative job, my skills grew, my administrative job grew. And I started taking on some computer tasks at work. And ultimately, I fell into a career that I absolutely love. And, here it is, 40 years later, 30 years later, and, I'm leading multi-million-dollar global projects, advising C-level executives across organizations on where to make the best investments, how to manage their data, how to manage their security, just all kinds of wonderful projects that I get to help organizations with this IT career, and it's just been fantastic.
Between the ages of 4 to 8, young girls feel like they can take on the world. They are as eager and hungry as their male counterparts. It's when they start to become aware of the world around them that the doubt sets in. The programming sets in, you could say, of who they're meant to be and the role they're meant to play. This could be drilled in from various mediums such as misinformed teachers and family, friends, films, TV, the list goes on. Their attention falls onto shallow things that won't help them succeed in life. While it's normal to have shallow thoughts sometimes, those should be playing in the background, not the forefront. That space should be reserved for their passions and talents, goals, ambitions, and other thoughts alike. That's where potency comes in.
Shifting the cultural paradigm is an imperative for an evolving world. And although currently girls outperform boys at school academically, many of those young women leave school disempowered. Moreover, there is very little urgency or incentive to shift the masculine dominant paradigm. And so by instigating structures that support increasing numbers of women to be confident in their ability to create and manifest in their chosen field, cannot but shift the paradigm.
I was in middle school. I think I was in middle school because my culture was very different. I always liked to take things apart. So I remember I had this little radio, transistor radio, and I took it apart and I put it back together. The first time it didn't work, and then I was able to get it working again. Um, and it's really strange because there was, I didn't know anyone who was really into technology because it didn't really exist at the time. And especially no women. There was no one that I could really look to as a mentor, even throughout my career, as I learned new areas of IT as the industry grew, everything from hardware and software and networking and so forth. There were not too many women in that I can relate to throughout
Are
my.
there
There's a lot more than there used to be. However, it's typical to be in a conference room with, say, 15 men, and there might be one or two women. It's
right?
it's unusual. It's still a very low percentage, and the higher in the organization you get, you'll see a lot of women programmers these days.
hmm
You won't see a lot of women leadership these days. The higher you get in your position, the less
Mm.
women there are. Correct. And it's interesting. I have given that advice to many women. I'm a mentor, corporate mentor, and I've mentored both men and women. And I have
Mm.
given that advice to women, and they have come back to thank me for giving them the courage they need to move forward and apply for a new promotion or a position, or to speak out for what they're lacking in their current role, or how they want to move up. It's challenging. It's challenging for women. That is definitely a truth when it comes to that. Women take less risk. They want to be 100% positive they can do the job before they apply for something, and men just go for it. And so
Yeah.
we need more women to just kind of go for it and try it, because we can all learn, and we're all very successful at it once we just take that step and do it. So I highly recommend that you invest in Potency World. We're really looking forward to building future leaders in women. Mentoring and coaching and education is really important to teach these women that there are opportunities out there outside of the typical industry that women follow, in tech, in STEM, all kinds of engineering. Women can do anything. So please invest in Potency World. You're going to get a great future generation out of it. Thank you.